Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm doing a quick top 3 and a highly commended video. The category today is everyday writers. Now, I will preface this by saying these are my everyday writers. These are not the top 3 pens I think are the best everyday writers on the market. I think there's a lot of pens that fall into that category, and a lot of that will depend on your price point because some people don't like to take expensive pens out and things like that. I love using my pens. I'm a writer and I found myself gravitating towards a handful of pens in particular. So I thought it might be interesting if I show my top 3 and show how they write and give a little bit of a reasons to why they are the pens I tend to find myself reaching to when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of writing. So I want to start with this, the highly commended. This is the Esterbrook Camden fountain pen. When I reviewed this pen, I enjoyed it, I liked it, but it really grew on me after that. For a couple of years, this was my most used pen. I toured with it, I used it a lot, and I still find myself reaching for it when I need just a really solid everyday writer. It's a nice size in the hand. It just has a simple Schmidt nib, nothing fancy, but you know what? It actually writes really, really well. So let's do a quick writing sample with it. So the highly commended is the Esterbrook Camden with a steel medium nib, and the ink in this is just it's just like a generic black ink cartridge. But yeah, it writes well, it writes quite wet. It handles just about any ink I put in it. It's just a really enjoyable fountain pen. And it's not an inexpensive pen, and they've come out with some really lovely versions, including an acrylic version of it recently, or resin version, I should say, plastic. But it's just a really lovely pen and a pen I enjoy writing with. So that's why that gets the highly commended on this list. Now, the next 3 pens are not in any order. I reach for these pens a lot for long writing sessions, when I know I'm going to be doing a lot of writing, and also when I know I just want something that is reliable and always going to be there. So I'm going to start with the Diplomat Excellence A2. This is a really lovely pen for writers. It's got simple lines. It's got, nothing fancy about it. It's just a black, lacquered metal fountain pen, standard international cartridge converter, steel nib. But it is a beautiful pen and a beautiful writer, and one I really, really enjoy. I've had models of this pen for a few years, and I've reached for it and used it so often. So that's why this is on my list. Let's see how it writes. So here we have the Diplomat Excellence A2. This also has a steel medium nib. The ink in this one is Diamine Terracotta, one of my favorite inks. I've had a couple of fills of that in this pen now, and I enjoy it a lot. It is a very smooth writer, super smooth and generous on the page and quite wet. It's just a lovely, lovely pen to write with. The weight feels substantial in the hand, and it feels like, it's well balanced and it does everything it should do. It feels good in the hand. Next on this list is this pen from Gravitas Pens. This was my pen of the year last year, and I still find myself reaching for it all the time for different reasons. A couple of things. Firstly, I've enjoyed playing with other nibs in this pen. It's currently back to its standard medium steel nib from Yovo that the pen came with. I've tried titanium nibs in it, pens from Cypress pens. It's just a really lovely pen and a great pen body. It's so well balanced. It's heavy in the section and towards the nib, so you feel like it's just effortless writing in your hand. Once again, standard international cartridge converter, nothing fancy about that. Steel nib, but a great pen body, great pen size, and as you'll see, it writes really, really well. So here I have the Gravitas Pens Delrin. Once again, with a medium steel nib. The ink I have in this today is Diamine. Badly written, but that's Diamine. Bilberry. This pen writes super, super wet. And with this ink in it, it is just fabulous. It's a great, once again, it's a great everyday writer. If you're writing on paper that is fountain pen friendly, a wet pen is a great writer because it feels nice to write with. This is why I reach for this. As I said, not only just with this beautiful medium nib that Ben tuned so well over there at Gravitas Pens, but also as a, as a pen body to try out other nib sizes that fit into that Yovo number 6 size section, because it's just such a great pen to write with. It feels so good in the hand. So that's why I reach for this pen a lot. And then lastly, I have the Lamy 2000. For me, no list of, everyday writers or anything like that would be complete without this pen. This isn't going to be on everyone's list. It's a kind of a polarizing pen. People don't like the way it feels in their hand or don't enjoy the design. But if you do, if you're one of those people that like this pen, you will understand why this pen is in so many lists. It's just a beautiful writer. It has a piston filling system, so it has a decent ink capacity, not huge, but decent. It's a nice material. It feels nice in the hand. It's robust. It's not cheap. It's probably the most expensive pen on this list, but it writes beautifully. Lamy 2000. Once again, this is with a medium nib, but this time it is a gold medium nib. And the ink in this is Robert Oster Tranquility. So this ink and pen combination is one I go to a lot. And it's an ink color I really enjoy. And I've gone through a lot of it, and a lot of it in this pen. It just seems to work for me. And when you have a pen and ink combination that works for you, I think a lot of people tend to sort of go for that again and again and again. You can see it writes quite wet. Once again, if you're using fountain pen friendly paper, wet writer is a beautiful everyday writer. If you're not, you might want to look for something a little bit drier. These are pens I enjoy, and they're pens that write beautifully well, that are understated. Like all 4 of them are, basically black with a silver colored or steel trim. There's nothing fancy about these pens aesthetically. And that's kind of another reason why they're everyday writers for me, is that they don't stand out. They're just good tools. They write well, and I'm a writer, so I write. And that's what I look for in an everyday writer. I look for something that will stand up to a long writing session, will be consistent, reliable, will be there every time I open it up, it'll write first time. And all these pens do that, as do a lot of my pens. But these ones are the 3 and the highly commended that I find myself reaching for a lot when I know I'm going to be doing that. So, thank you for watching. I hope you found this list interesting and useful. Like and subscribe, hit the notifications button. If you'd like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens and enjoy writing with whatever pens pleases you, and I'll talk to you soon.